Welcome to our channel, created to empower, lift, and inspire viewers worldwide. Before we start today's powerful message, please click the button below to subscribe to our channel. You will be notified each time we upload a new video. Let's get started. What is the definition of courage? Well, according to research, courage is a mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. In Middle English, courage refers to what is in one's mind or thoughts. Today, anyone with courage has fearless feats and bold acts of the mind. Having courage means acting when others are afraid of danger, or simply acting without fear of failure. As the great philosopher Plato stated, courage is knowing what not to fear. So let's dive in and discuss 6 types of courage one can achieve or display. Number 1, physical courage. Physical courage is the most common form that is easily identified. Perhaps it is the only type of courage you are even aware of. So what is physical courage? It is the outward ability to face danger, pain, and fear. It's seen in people who have received injuries while trying to save someone else, or those who have been through trauma that has left them with lasting physical scars. Physical courage can also be seen in people who face their fears, like skydivers or firefighters, despite the possibility of getting hurt. While this type of courage may seem like it requires physical strength, sometimes it just requires emotional and mental fortitude. Emotional courage. Emotional courage is a quality associated with the great leaders and inspiring humans. It is the ability to deal with your emotions in a productive and healthy way rather than a destructive one. It also means you have the strength to face your emotions head on rather than running away from them or ignoring them. Emotional courage also allows people to face their fears and overcome them, no matter how terrifying they may be. Emotional courage is internal and feeds off of the external environment. Emotional courage can also be used in many situations, such as when you feel frustrated because your manager keeps giving you extra work without offering any support or recognition. Still, you raise this issue with your manager and they say it's not true and make you feel guilty for complaining about their actions. This situation requires emotional courage to express yourself clearly and assertively without feeling defensive or guilty about being upset about something unfair at work. Another example of emotional courage is your personal life. In your personal life, you may be going through a difficult breakup and feeling a lot of hurt and sadness. Or perhaps you've just experienced a sudden and devastating loss from death of a loved one. Instead of taking time off work and isolating yourself from others, which might help you to avoid some of the feeling and pain, you continue to work through your pain and grief. This does not suggest that one solution is better than the other. Emotional courage is facing pain and grief and deciding the best action to deal with it, given your resources. In other words, working through grief, taking a leave of absence to deal with grief, or seeking counseling to resolve feelings of pain or distress can be categorized as emotional courage. 3. Intellectual courage. Intellectual courage is an essential quality and characteristic of outstanding leadership. Intellectual courage enables individuals to lead with confidence and conviction, regardless of whether their ideas are accepted by others. Intellectual courage is an ability to see beyond the status quo and ask questions that might seem absurd or dangerous without fear of other people's perceptions. Intellectual courage is often displayed by people who are willing to speak up in meetings even when they're not sure everyone agrees, to challenge ideas even from management, to share their opinions even if they aren't popular among their peers and superiors, to ask questions that may seem ridiculous at first glance, but reveal some form of truth. Furthermore, intellectual courage is all about making decisions based on what makes sense intellectually rather than what's easiest or most comfortable. Number 4, social courage. Social courage is the ability to stand up for yourself and your beliefs, even in the face of opposition from others within a group setting. We all have social courage within us, but sometimes it's hard to find. If we're honest with ourselves, I bet most of us can think of a time when we didn't have the courage to do something we knew would make a difference. Maybe it was a coworker being mistreated by a colleague or manager. Or perhaps something bigger, like fighting for equal rights in your community. It takes strength to stand up for yourself or others when doing so feels risky. This level of bravery isn't easy, but it can be developed over time. Number 5, moral courage. Moral courage is the ability to do what is morally and ethically right, even when it might be unpopular or dangerous. It's about having the guts to stand up for your beliefs and values in the face of adversity, even when no one else does. It's also about what feels right in your heart and settling for a more accessible option because it feels safer or more familiar. Whether that means telling off a friend who's made a bad decision or reporting wrongdoing at work. Well, William Slim, a former Governor General of Australia, said, "Moral courage is higher and a rarer virtue than physical courage." I agree with him 100%, but unfortunately it is rare to find people who will always stand up for their morals, especially when it goes against the grain of society or the business world. An example of moral courage can include speaking out against injustices even when no one else does, taking action when you know it will cost you personally, standing up for your beliefs in the face of criticism from peers, family, and friends. Lastly, spiritual courage. Spiritual courage is the willingness to reach deep inside your soul and make difficult choices. It's a willingness to risk what you think you know to learn more about yourself. Perhaps you may not be a very spiritual or even believe in this type of courage. However, it is an essential type of courage if you want to overcome personal fears and limiting beliefs. Spiritual courage is not just something we need in our personal lives. It's also something we need at work. This type of courage is standing up for what you believe, saying no when everyone else says yes, and being willing to stand alone when doing so. Spiritual courage is that gut feeling that lets us know when it's time to leave a job or a situation because it's no longer aligned with our core values. And that's okay. It's not always easy to be spiritual. Sometimes it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But there are lots of ways to get through those tough times. Here are some examples. Keep a journal about your journey and use them as a resource when you need help. Find support from friends or family members who understand where you're coming from. Take time for yourself by meditating or reading a book. Learn how to be present in the now by taking deep breaths throughout the day. I'm so happy you watched our video today. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to receive information on new video releases. Thank you for watching and see you at the next one.